Some boy telling him in the truck outside. I just went shopping. Wanted to make a video. Got my organic drink here. Something to sip on. I do not drink and I don't smoke, but this is non-alcoholic. So, yeah, let's talk about making better decisions. The reason why I said ladies make better decisions is because I realized that naturally, uh, women are up against the fence um, at the age of about in between 10 and 12 years old. Women, or girls at that point, are up against the fence. And when I say that, I mean they're starting to get pressured to procreate. Now, um, that pressure comes in all kind of ways. In some societies, that pressure is there. Nature, that pressure is there. Um, from, of course, some parents, that pressure is actually there. Um, so you got some cultures that are like, okay, you're 11 or you're 12 now. It's time for you to prepare for the next stage of your life. And then, of course, you got your everyday guy and or woman uh, who and or girl who is pressuring other girls into doing things that propel them into adulthood and or adult like activities. So I realized that, and this isn't usually the girl's fault. It's usually because she's trying to fit in that she does certain things that, like I said, catapult her into early adulthood. And a lot of these decisions, the girl doesn't know. This is why when you hear women explain why they have children and they're, 18, 19 years old, and some of them a lot younger why they had these kids, and why they choose the wrong man, their number one answer is, I was young. And then you're like, well, you can't always use that excuse, you were young. But you can, people do understand, yeah, you were young. Because there's a lot of pressure on females when it comes to those ages. Well, that's when it begins. And it just elevates from there. Once they get into middle school, and really into high school. High school is hell on everybody. But once you really get into high school, then you have your peers who are doing things. They're drinking, they're smoking. They want you to be cool. It's bad if you're not cool. Uh, so, when it hits high school, it's pretty much, a done deal. Everybody's after you. But yeah, it usually starts at about 10 and, in between 10 and 12. And then, it's just on from there. And usually you start seeing in this society, females start having babies at somewhere around the ninth grade. And then, on up and up and up. And a lot of the females say the same thing. I made bad decisions because I was young. How do we stop this? How do we stop this? How do we stop the females from making a bad decision at those ages? Like, how do we teach, uh, our children from, those ages, those very delicate ages? How do we teach our children? Listen, it's most likely that, 80% of you are going to become active in between the ages of 12 and 15. I mean, I don't know what the statistics are, but they're pretty damn high. But how do we tell them? I mean, you teach them about the birds and the bees, but you don't stop them. Like, the teacher is losing power. The teacher can't be as liberal as they used to be. And then you have prophylactics that are handed out to kids. It's like, we know you're going to do it. Here's these prophylactics. Protect yourself. But there isn't really a deterrent to this. You tell them what is going to happen, what is possible is going to happen, between pregnancy diseases and things like that, and how life is going to be a little harder for them. But they don't give the full scope of the dangers that these adolescents are running into. And for this reason, for this reason, they shrug off the fact that, yeah, I can't get pregnant. They shrug off the fact that, yeah, I could get a disease, and they think, I'm young, I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then you have another statistic before they graduate high school, and when and some of them turn out to be okay. A lot of them do if they have a good support team, but some of them turn out to be not okay, and very, 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 very not okay. They end up in very, very bad situations because they run out of money. They don't have the support team that was prepared to take on a child. You know what I mean? Grant, mom is like, you got to get out. Your kid's 15. You're kicking your pregnant, daughter out. You're like, you got to get out. Why? Because mom is already struggling. Because she doesn't have a man there. She has men coming in and out, but she doesn't have a husband. So the mom is struggling because she doesn't have enough money, and she's barely able to feed you. And then you go and bring another mouth into the house. You know how much money that kid's going to cost that mother? Because you're not paying for it. You're 15. You don't even have a job. You can't even get a job. You know what I'm saying? Well, you can get a job. I don't know what their age they're hiring at now, but you're 15 years old. But nonetheless, you got to either drop out of school, or somebody's got to help you take care of this baby. Well, if it's just you and your mother and aunties and grandmas and uncles, and they're not able to stop what they're doing for your child, then guess what? You two, you three are on your own, and the mother might just be like, get out. Lots of yelling back and forth. Get out. Now this child is homeless. Now that's a very extreme case, but it does happen. And once she hits the streets, it's no holds bar. Nobody has any love for her or that child. It is no holds bar. Listen, if you don't believe what I'm saying, go watch Soft White Underbelly and listen to those terrible, terrible stories. And they're happening every day. So it's not like, oh, this doesn't happen. It happens all the time. So it's like, how can we get our females to make better choices? They get hit a certain age and they're wearing shorts as short as they can. They're walking out the house showing everybody that they are ready. They're bending over and shaking everything that they got. They think they're ready, but they're not ready. And the mother is just watching them. The mother lets them walk out the house looking like that. And the mother, the mother's not chastising them for looking like that. The mother's not saying a damn thing. She's just letting her daughter come out and run around and shake her tail in front of everybody. They got on the tightest, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, didn't you get mad when one of these little high school boys, some 17-year-old, talks your daughter into coming over, and he knocks her up? And you can't go cry to the police because he's 17. And your daughter's what, 14? You can't cry. See, your one out is, oh, you convinced my daughter to do this, you're a criminal, the man is bad. Well, what if it's another child? What if the person's 17 years old? That is an adolescent. You can't scream, oh, this, no. They're practically peers. You know what I'm saying? Or what if she's 12 and he's 17? Because that's happening too. I'm just saying, when do we talk about this in church? When do we, have after school and talk about it? When do we finally tell our, third and fourth graders, listen, Start now. Start learning this now. Get this under your belt right now, because tomorrow you're going to be 11, 12 years old, and it's going to be on. Your body is going to tell you to go out there and procreate. You're not going to listen to anything that has any sense. And you're thinking, this is a 12-year-old. 12-year-olds don't do it. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Hey, what's going on, Tiff? And you know why 12-year-olds, and you ask any woman when they got hot in the pants, how old were they? When they started realizing that they wanted to procreate. Ask them how old they were. Good chance they're going to tell you in between 9 and 12. That's when they figured it out. Like, you know what? I can see this happening. Like, and once they start thinking, look, this mother told me, I delivered her a stove, right? She bought a fridge and a stove from me. And she had a 12-year-old, and she had some older boys, and she had one that was in the service. And, but there's no father there. And she told me, she said, I'm a little worried about my daughter. And I'm like, which one? She said the 12-year-old. And I saw the little 12-year-old, pretty little thing. And she has, a 14-year-old son, and there's another girl in the house too. She's like 16. And just a, pretty little thing, right? And she's like, I'm worried about her. I'm like, why? She said, because she was reading a book, and the book was talking about, giving fellatio to, boys. But they were actually adults that were doing it in the book. And then she said, she asked her why she was reading them, and the girl said that she wanted to do this. So, the mother is pretty much talking to me, who is pretty much a stranger. I just sold her appliances. And the reason why she's telling me, because she doesn't have a man to tell this information to. Remember when I tell you guys, when I go into these houses, these women tell me a lot of stuff. And I'm a stranger. But they tell me a lot of things because why? Because there's a man in the presence. And this is what this woman said to me. Now, why do I need to know that her 12-year-old daughter wants to, do this? Why would she even tell? I'm in my truck getting ready to pull off, and she's telling me this. Why are you telling me this? I don't want to know this information. But nonetheless, I recognize that there is no man there. You know what I'm saying? And she doesn't live in a very affluent area. So I spoke to her briefly about it. And I said, well, what are you going to do? She's like, I really don't know. And I said, listen, people go through things like this with teenagers. I'm like, you're going to have to find a way to, make her understand what she's getting into. You can't just blow it off like it's not happening, because she'll feel rejected. And if the girl feels rejected, she's going to find some comfort somewhere. And she's a cute little girl, too. So she's already, it's a good chance that she's already found her mark, which means she's already found a little boy who is willing to let her figure out what's going on. As a matter of fact, they'll be figuring it out together. There's a good chance she's already found her mark. If the little girl is reading about it already, this 12-year-old, that means she's hot in the draws. She's going to go somewhere and figure this whole thing out. Now, can you orchestrate a plan where she doesn't figure it out and get in trouble? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. But if you try to cut her off from the feelings that she has, which is what America did when they made up those laws back in 1967, if you try to cut her off or make her feel bad about her natural feelings to want to procreate, then guess what's going to happen? She's going to rebel against you, and she's going to do it her own way. And that's what I'm saying. America didn't give a contingency plan when it came to teenage pregnancy. They only gave, if this happens, this is what you do. But they didn't really, you got sex education, but sex education does not deter the younger generation from the act of it. It just says, look, this is what's going to happen, or this is what can happen. It doesn't say you should not do this. And then it doesn't go past a certain age. Like, it's like, okay, teenage pregnancy. You're going to be pregnant when you're in high school, if you're still in high school. Of course, that's going to carry on into your adulthood. But then they don't give illustration of how hard your adulthood can be. Not all the time, because some people got a good support system, but how hard the adulthood can be if it's just you and your child. They don't give any information on how much daycare costs. I mean, if you are a single mother out there on your own, then listen, everybody's coming for you. Everybody's coming for you, especially if you're a young woman. Why? Because you can still have children. So, I mean, there's a few things there. One, you can still have children. So a guy's like, shoot, I can still get a baby out of you. But he's not necessarily going to go, you know what, I'm going to marry you and get a child out of you. That isn't the first thing a guy thinks when he sees a young mother with a child. He thinks she's had sex already, she's had a baby, I can do the same thing. That's what he's thinking. This is an easy target. And she's young. She doesn't have an education. There's no other man around. Her father's not around. Yep, I'm going to get it. And if he's somebody that really doesn't care, and sees that you're careless, he's going to throw a baby up in you and be out. Now you got two kids and no husband. That's what I'm saying. They don't tell that part of what can happen to the young lady in early pregnancy, and the chances of those things happening are very, very, very great. We know statistically it's harder for a teenage mother to actually get into a career, and we're not saying it doesn't happen. We're just saying it's harder. It's harder on the family because now she has to depend on like I said, the mother or whoever comes along or whoever that she has, and everybody's gonna want something from her. Everybody will. Every person who's going to help her is going to want something from her. Family members, I don't care who they are, they're going to want something from her. If I have to babysit your kid, you have to pay me, which means you have to go to work. It is what it just gets hard. And I just think that there should be programs where teenage mothers, or women who were teenage mothers who got into those situations comes back into a school, and let's just say that they're, I don't know, 25 or 30 or whatever, and they come in. I think that they should come back into these sex education, not even in the sex ed. There should be like a whole, what they call them, assemblies. There should be an assembly, and some of these things should be talked about. Some kind of way. I think it should be really illustrated, so these kids aren't blindsided into thinking that, so what if I had a child? I'm still going to be okay. Well, not necessarily, because then you have to think about the child. What are the chances that this child is going the same fair chance as every other child out there? That's what I'm saying. Is this child going to have a fair chance? No, this child is going to grow up poor. This child is going to grow up poor. This child is going to be traumatized by the world around him or her because they're going to grow up in a world of violence. They're going to grow up in a world where they're going to be hungry. They're going to be hungry and there's not going to be any food. They're going to have to go out and at a very early age and try to get something to eat. They're going to depend on the school system to feed them, which means during the weekends they're going to be hungry. They're going to have to find people who they don't know and not necessarily trust to help them just to get through life at a very, very early age. 6, 7, 8 years old, they're going to be hanging over Tommy's house all the time because Tommy is eating all the time. So they're going to always want to go to Tommy's house. And it's just not going to take long before Tommy's mother figures out that, Jason doesn't eat much. He doesn't have a lot to eat. And then, Tommy's mother might call children's services. Now you got children, now you got the state involved in it and the government. And it's just all bad from there. Jason might not even be coming home. Now Jason is into the system. But once he gets in the system, he's in the foster homes and children's homes, and he's just going from one home to another until somebody might adopt him. Now you're in a stranger's, home, and in some cases they're not going to treat you right. You're thinking, oh, okay, I'm in a better situation. No, they might, you know, beat you with a wooden stick every time you do something wrong. They might, take advantage of you because what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Call the police? Go ahead. You're going to go right back to your mother's house, teeming with roaches and rats. You're going to go right back to your mother. Go ahead, because she doesn't have any money. No, you're going to shut up and you're going to take it. And that's how you're going to live. And then once you become an adult, you're going to be traumatized and you're going to be violent. Now, what do we got? Once you turn 18, you commit an act of violence. You are now adult. We already know where this is going. You're going to jail. Now you're around people who really don't care about you. They don't know you, and they're violent just like you are. So when and if you get out of there, you're more violent because jail does not reform people. Jail doesn't reform you. That's not what the prison system is for. That's not what it's for. Those guards are beating your ass in there. They're letting all kind of things happen to you, and they're watching it happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Now you come out, you're even more crazed and violent than ever. And here's another thing about jail. Once you've been in the prison system so long, just like any organism, if you put that organism under any type of pressure in any kind of way, meaning if you change an organism situation, if you have that same organism and that same organism grew up in cold and then you moved it to warm and then you eventually moved it to hot, that organism can still survive. If you take a person and you move them from a non-violent situation into a violent situation slowly and sometimes abruptly, that individual can survive. Except now that individual is different. When you send somebody to jail, they come out different no matter who they are. And no matter how long you sent them in there. If somebody goes to jail over the weekend, they come out different. They do. They think differently. Because for one, they think I could go right back there. And this might not be a place I wanted to be. And if they got into a fight in there, they realize that they cannot call on anybody. It's just them and the opponent, and sometimes it's more than one opponent. Yeah. Institutionalized. So it's different. So this is why I'm saying there should be programs, just better programs for our teenage, especially our teenage girls. How you doing, Star? Especially for our teenage girls, because I've been thinking about this for a long time. And there's a bunch of teenagers that live around here. There's children of all ages that live around here. But, I've seen some of the teenagers that live around here go from just the sweetest kid to the meanest kid you ever met. Why? Because they became active. And when they became active, the world knew that they became active and took advantage of them. And then they just changed. They were just the nicest little girl you ever met. Next thing you know, crazed, just smart mouth and cursing, running away, acting a fool, everything. Don't listen to their parents. Don't care about nothing. Why? Because them youngins got to her. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. Next thing you know, police is being called on her, the whole nine. Like, I've seen this happen, and we've all seen it happen before. But I think that if there was more fear, see, there's not enough fear of, and you know what, that girl actually got pregnant too. She got pregnant in high school. There's not enough fear of teenage pregnancy and going on into adulthood. And this is why kids blow off what adults tell them. Because they don't fully understand. This is one thing I do give the psychologist or whatever who made some of these laws. Children really don't understand what they're getting into when they start procreating. They really don't. Because they understand that there is an act that's going to happen. They know this. But they don't understand the future and the total cost of those acts. And an adult does, because we've been to the show. So that is very true. Children don't understand. You understand. You understand what you're getting them into. But they don't understand what they're getting into. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. If you don't have the child and try to get them to understand what they're getting into, they're going to go out there and get into it. Why? Because nature is telling them to. Nature is telling them to. Nature is telling them to lie to their parents. Nature is telling them to sneak out of the house. Nature's telling them to run away. And when they do, they get caught up by people who know the whole drill. And when these people know the whole drill, there they go out the house. And like I said, some of these people are 17 years old, so you can't run to the police and cry foul. Teenage pregnancy is, a norm around here, and most of the mothers will babysit so they can go out and repeat the process. Yeah. I mean, it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal, but there are not enough programs to stop this. And here's the thing. And here's another thing. When you're looking at nature and nurture, when you're looking at what we're trying to nurture these girls to do is not to be pregnant as a teenager. But when you're looking at nature, nature is telling them to be pregnant as a teenager. Now, nature's not telling them to go and get pregnant by, a 40-year-old. But nature is telling them to choose a male. Now, unfortunately, nature does drive them to choose a male where that male has certain qualities, and usually it's strength, and they have a place to nest, which means they have an income in their own place. So so even though you do have teenage pregnancy and it's people within their class, you will find that these teenagers are going to seek out adults. They're seeking adults out. And I know plenty of girls who've done this. I know plenty of women, when they were girls, they done this. And I was like, well, what'd you do that for? And, they had their reasons. And their reasons usually fall within that realm, So, and it's not going to stop. Every day there's children being born. So every day there's in between a 12 to 15-year-old who's doing the same thing. And they're approaching older men because they see what the older man has. Like there's some girls around here. I don't know how there are. I never, ever, ever, ever talk to them. I've never said a word to these girls, and they look at me all the time, and I've never said nothing to them. I'm not even interested. I've said something to one of their mother. I said hello, because it's the mom. But I've never said anything to these kids. But you think I don't see them looking at me? And I know what's going through their head, and I'm just like, oh, but no, see. oh, no. I already know what's going on through your head. But they're looking at me in two fashions. One, there's not a man in their house. So they're looking at an older man and thinking, about, their dad or whatever, what have you. Two, they're looking at the things that I have. And they're not looking at me as in I want to, be with you, but they're looking at what I have, and they're going to take that and go, hold on a second. They're going to look at what I have, and they're going to go, I want my man to have this. And if they're looking at that at their age now, they're already thinking about having children. So they're going, that's a nice truck. I want my man to have a nice truck. I want my man to have a place to live. I want my man to dress like this. So they're already looking. Do you think that their high school or middle school kids that they go to school with have trucks? No, they don't. They don't have it. So they're going right past the kid that's their age, and they're looking right at the adult. Hold on a second. They took prayer out of schools, and they should have never did that. Prayer out of schools, and they have programmed and conditioned children to report their parents when disciplined, and that's a crime too. That's a damn crime in itself. CPS calls certain ways parents discipline and shit. Listen, my mother used to be like, "Go outside and get a switch. Go get my belt." We knew we were in for it. When I was growing up, my neighbor could check us, and mom and dad didn't want fight. Exactly. Yeah, I can't say nothing to these kids out here. I mean, I told that little girl don't play with the spiders. Because her and another little girl and a little boy, they were out here riding the bikes, and these bushes out here are filled with these spiders, and these spiders are like this big because they get into our basements, and I have to go down there, and every now and then I see these huge black spiders down, and all I can think about, if one of them spiders crawled on this girl and bit her, it's gonna be. I mean, the little girl might be 6. It's gonna be bad. So I was in within earshot of the kids playing, and I heard the little girl go, "Hey, let's touch the spiders." And I looked up the little girl and I said, "Don't touch the spiders." She was like, "Okay." She ain't touched the spiders. When she saw the look on my face, like, "Hey, uh-uh, don't do that. Don't touch the spiders, because it's going to be a bad day for you. Because they're going to come out, and they're going to come out in droves. There's not one spider in there. There's a whole family of them. There's hundreds of them in there. And if they come out of there as big as they are and crawl on you, trust me, you're going to be rushed to the hospital. It's going to be a bad day." And I think some of them are wolf spiders, which means they're not poisonous, but they hurt. It literally does take a village to raise. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Now, I can't say too much to those kids, but I can tell them don't run into the street or something like that. Or if a car's coming, I'd be like, wait a minute, and then let the car go by. And then, stuff like that I'll do, because I just don't want to see nobody get hurt. And the mother's inside. And right now, my eyes might be the only adult and the only protection between you and whatever this world got going on. So if a stray dog comes out of nowhere and starts chasing you, I'm not gonna knock on your door and say, "Hey, can I protect your daughter from this stray Rottweiler?" No, I'm gonna grab something and I'm gonna go and beat the hell out the dog, or stop the dog in some kind of way, and from jumping on a 6 or 7 year old, because that's just what I have to do. I don't really have a choice in that. I gotta do something, and when it comes, it just anything could mess with anybody at any time. So, you know, yes, Tone, you care about others, which is very, yeah. And a mother is mean as hell. I mean, a lot of these mothers, they don't even like me. I mean, they're mean as fire. But the kids aren't mean to me. You know, so you damn right I'm gonna protect that kid in a heartbeat, and I'll just deal with the consequences. But do I have fear of that? I do. As long as I don't come within, a certain distance of them, that's fine. But if something's about to harm them, I can get in the way of whatever that something is, and do my best to stop it. But as far as contact, I don't even do that. I don't come nowhere. I make sure if they're on one end of this, one end, I am totally on the other end. Like I said, on the other end on my truck, outside. So I'm not even near the sidewalk. I don't want there to even be a whisper. So I have a very clear conscience of where they're at, where I'm at. I sit on the outside towards the street, and they play on the sidewalk. So that's how that goes down. But if I think something's going to bother them, I will get in the way of it, because they're kids, and they're not. You got to protect the kids, man. I mean, come on. Are we that far gone? Now, if the mother is outside, then I still will stop a stray dog or something like that. But you know, it just gets different when the mom's outside, because the mothers they hate me for no reason, and I'm just not so quick to help out those mothers anymore. I'm not. I'm tired of being hated for no reason, so I'm not quick to jump up and help the mother whatsoever, because they just don't like me. But the child, I will definitely help if I can. But being a good and a nice guy is hard. You know, it's hard out here. It's hard out here, and I've seen women just accuse me of stuff that I just didn't do, and start whispering to each other and looking at me, and I'm like, what did I do? Like, I've seen one lady, she saw me, came right out her house, went to another woman who she didn't even know, who was just sitting on her steps, and went and whispered in that lady's ear, and they were both looking at me. And the younger female, when she was listening to the woman, she just looked at me. And then the older woman went right back into her house. And I'm like, what is this fat cow saying? Like, I wanted to, go off, but I'm just tired of it. It's literally a shame that so many of our people are just so disconnected from each other. Yeah. And it just, I mean, I wanted to be like, what? Like, what do you, like, like, let me in on it because I'm tired of all the whispering. Let me know what I did. I'm walking down the street minding my business. What in the hell did I do to your fat, ugly ass to make you come out of your door and say something to a woman you don't even know? Like, what is it? Please enlighten me on what just happened. What crime just took place? You know what I mean? And these are the same people who will accuse you of something that you didn't do. And that's what the biggest fear of, men like me, that's what our biggest fear of being falsely accused. And this is why we're not so quick to help the mothers anymore, because mothers are good for falsely accusing you of something. And whenever you see that energy, like if that lady was getting bit by a dog, would I help her? No. I'm gonna tell you right now, if that lady got bit by a dog, I keep walking. Now, under normal circumstances, would I help? Yeah. But now that I see her energy in the way she looks at me, like I'm the person that's doing stuff. If that lady got bit by a dog, I would not do anything. I call the police is what I do. I'd be like, yeah, there's a lady out here getting bit by a Rottweiler. It's terrible too. You need to come out here and do something. If they ask me why I didn't do anything about it, I'd be like, because the woman doesn't like me. She doesn't like me whatsoever. And if they say why, I say, I don't know, ask her. But I know she doesn't like me, so I'm not doing that. These females that don't like me, I'm not going to help you with something. Let those boss ladies be strong and independent. 100%. Yeah, that's what you want. Listen, as far as bossing up, listen, if you want to boss up, I don't have no problem with that. You want to go out and make money. Listen, most of the women I've dated make more money than me. You know, I used to work in corporate, so, they made a lot of money. Those women will be the same ones to get jealous if they saw you with, right. Yeah. Yeah, if I start bringing females around here, it'd be a whole different thing. But I have my reasons for not doing that. It has nothing to do with them. It's just because I'm on my grind. I'm so into, what I'm trying to get accomplished, and I'm almost done. But yeah, I wouldn't help them. No, those boss up females. Listen, the woman came at me like I'm a boss. I'd be like, how many employees you got? You know, do you hire? See, because I had employees at one time. You know what I'm saying? But when I say I had employees, which means I would hire the local dude who wasn't doing anything, and or some of these guys and say, "Hey, I got to make a run. You want to come with me?" And then I would pay them. I tell them exactly what it is. I had one guy that was coming all the time with me. And I'd pay him. I say I need some extra hands because refrigerators are 200 pounds plus. And I'm a strong person, but once you get a 3-door refrigerator, listen, moving out on your own is just not a good practice. Eventually, you get hurt, and that's exactly what happened to me. So I needed help moving those refrigerators. When these chicks talk about their bosses, they're using it it's a derogatory term. It's not meant to be something that's actually sought after for a man. It's actually used against a man. I'm a boss chick, which means you're telling me that you make your own money. You have no. You're telling me you have a penis, is what you're telling me. You have no need for me. And listen, I can't be a Superman to somebody who doesn't need me. Like I can't. Like I am not a beta male. Now, have I done some simping before? Hell yeah. Have I bought a chick something? But I didn't look at it as like super simping. Have I bought somebody dinner? Absolutely. Somewhere I buy dinner just so I can stare at them, especially now that I'm older. Absolutely. You hungry? I'll buy you dinner just so I can stare at you. I ain't got no problem with that. You're beautiful. Hey, you want to eat? Let's go. I ain't got no problems. If you call that something, okay, whatever. I call that courting. You know what I mean? But have I been a beta male before? Yeah, sure I have. I've been a beta male before. I've been ran over. I've been a dude who's sitting out here singing to girls in the window. I've done all that romantic stuff, like literally singing to a woman in a window, like some Rapunzel stuff. I've done that before. And the girl was like, "Yeah, you need to go." I was like, "Damn." She's like, "No, this is the place where Johnny Gambits got killed." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I left. But like I said, I used to be a super romantic dude, but whenever I did that, I got ran over. So I don't do that no more, and I am classified as an alpha male because I am 100% dependent on me. That's for one thing. I don't depend on anybody. You know, when I go out here and wrestle with these refrigerators, I'm going out here and get this money on my own. Uh, Lonnie Love says bossy and mouthy is not why women are single. The delusion is real. Listen, you can't be around me and be bossy, and I'll get real quiet on you because I don't like confrontation. I'll get real quiet on you until you're just bossing a little bit too much, and then I'm gonna be like, you know what? Like either I'm gonna go or you're gonna go, and it's just gonna be that. And if you want to tend to get loud, I'm either gonna leave or escort you out. Something is about to happen where we're about to part ways. But there's not gonna be a bunch of rah 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 blah blah. No, there's not. And you better blah blah blah. I would just laugh and be out. And please don't put your hands on me because I'm gonna pin you to the ground by your neck and hair. The bossy attitude is real manly. Yeah, I'm not going for none of that. Don't slap me. Don't slap me. Listen, if you want your arm still attached to your body, don't slap me. Don't hit me with no nothing. Don't think you're gonna do anything like that and I'm just gonna walk away. Don't spit on me. Not if you want your feet to still be on the ground. Don't do it. Because I'm gonna yank you up by your neck and you're gonna be in the air trying to get down. It is not gonna be good for you. I'm 280 pounds. And if you don't want this coming at you with all fours, don't do any of that. You could easily have a decent conversation. Listen, you can yell. If that's the way you feel, you can yell, you can call names and all that other stuff, but do not put your hands on me because it's not going to be a good day for you. It's not. I'm not going to sit there and let a woman abuse me because society says that, a woman can. No, you can't. You can't. I can't do it to you. I can't, but I will lift you up in a heartbeat. And if I got to squeeze you, that ain't going to tickle either. That is not going to tickle. It's not going to tickle. If I got to, you coming at me with all fours and I got to hug you to make you stop, no, you're going to start losing your breath because I'm going to squeeze you till you fall out and then I'm going to let you fall out. Don't hit her. I ain't hit her. I just squeezed her really, really hard. And she lost her breath, and then I let her fall out to the ground. And there she is on the ground at the gas station. No, don't. You're not doing me like that. You're not coming in my house with all that mouth. I'll never let nobody do that. And any woman I figure who's on that, like I used to have a friend, I used to date a couple of them, and the one, she would yell all the time, just, and I'd be like, why are you screaming? And this is how I talk to her because I know if I got into a screaming match with her, it's just pointless. And then eventually I would leave because I'm like, why are you yelling at me? What is the point? Like, and but they want you to be toxic and yell back at them and yeah. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because if I get that mad, then you're my opponent. I'm not here to fight. I'm here because I like females. I'm here to Netflix and chill. I'm not here to fight. I've had a woman threaten to kill me. And I was like, listen, you're trying to fight, I'm trying to screw. Like, what are we doing? We end up screwing. Because I let her know, listen, when did I become your opponent? I'm not your opponent. I'm trying to, we just came from a party. I'm trying to have a good time tonight. So are you on that wavelength or not? And she calmed down and was just like, yeah, okay, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? She was like, I'm just not feeling well. That's why I was acting all right. I was like, okay, well, get that out your head because I'm not going for that. You sitting up here just met me and talking crazy to me like, nah, I don't want no part of that action. So I don't let females get away with that. I'll pin them to the ground in a heartbeat. Don't put your hands on me. Daddy doesn't like it, and I'm not going for it. I'm not going for it at all. You know what I'm saying? You're slower than me. You're smaller than me. You're weaker than me. Uh, you don't have the same reflexes I have. And you probably haven't been into as much battles as I have. I am more trained in combat than you are. What is the point of trying to best me? What gives you, that type of liquid courage where you are convinced you're going to beat me in a 1v1? I want to know what you women eat, what you drink. What is it that makes you think that I'm going to fall first in a straight up 1v1? What do you think is like I just be wanting to ask some of these goofy women, what do you think is about to happen here? You think you're about to strike me and then I'm about to walk away and no, that's not what's gonna happen. You're about to lose in some kind of shape, form, or fashion, and it's not going to tickle. That's what's going to happen. And you can threaten me all you want, but if you put your hands on me, it's going to be 280 pounds against 130 pounds. That's what it's going to be. You can call anybody that you want. You can call anybody that you want. But right now, it's going to be 289 against 130, 140 pounds. And if you think you can win, then hey, you go right ahead and do it. But common sense should jump in there sometime soon, and let you know that you're not going to win. But some women don't have that common sense. They'll go ahead and talk all that stuff and then spit on you. And once you do that, that's assault. It just makes me like you do something as foul as that. You do something as foul and trashy as that, and think nobody is supposed to retaliate. Come on, man. Come on now. When you're eating concrete, don't cry to the police and tell them, oh, this man did this because, and I'm a woman and he shouldn't know. You spit on somebody, you smack somebody. No, and the next thing you know, you're eating concrete. Don't get up out of that situation and cry about what somebody did to you because you thought, because you got that nobody wants, that you are just going to walk away and get away with this. No, like men are humans. We have feelings, emotions. We cry, we laugh, we love, and all that other stuff. Robots. We're not here to be your punching bags. We're not here for your abuse. We're not going to abuse us and then falsely and then criminalize us and then think that we're just going to not have any angst and anger towards you and your counterparts. It just doesn't. No, it just doesn't work like that. This is the reason why a lot of women are struggling. Don't realize that when you do something to a man and then everybody hears about it, they may not come at you a certain way, but the next woman who probably is undeserving of it is going to get the brunt of what you did. And it's just going to go on and on and on and on and on. And you have a whole nationality suffering because of the ignorance of a few people. And that's what's going on now. That crap that Brittany Rayner did is going to have a whole ripple effect on society. What she did is going to have an effect on marriage. Listen, it already has. The dude, Bobo, he plays for the NBA. He has an Instagram, he had an Instagram model girlfriend. That Instagram model girlfriend posted something that said she needs a rich man and to pay her bills and blah blah blah, and it was some type of joke she did in her walk-in closet and showing all the stuff that she has. He dropped her as soon as he saw it. He didn't call her or nothing. He just cut her off on Instagram, and that was it. Stop accepting her calls simply because of what Brittany Rayner did. And every other person who is high value and makes millions of dollars and dates these Instagram girls, like it's bad for Instagram girls and some of you OnlyFans models. It's a bad deal for now. Some of you sugar babies and all, it's a bad deal now. What Brittany Rayner did is cost some of you women millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then she had the nerve to say she didn't care. But see, it's going to have a ripple effect. It's going to have a ripple effect on marriage. All of these men who've seen this, they're just like, nope. See, because some of these Instagram models and some of these, other models out there, they were actually sincere about the person who they were dating. But now, whoever this, person is, looks and saw what happened to old dude from Charlotte, was just like, and just straight up cutting their girl off. Like, look, I can't see you anymore. And some girls don't even get that. They get ghosted for real. That's happening right now. That's happening right now. These girls are getting left. Just completely. I'm out. No explanation, but they all know what happened. Brittany Rayner happened. Like I'm telling you, you can't do something to a class or an individual and think that it isn't, the shot heard around the world. Everybody sees it. That's what social media is, what it does. Everybody sees what happened, and we're all just like, oh no Instagram model for me. And now that OnlyFans is shutting down all sexual content on the 1st, which is Wednesday or Thursday, a lot of these women were making their whole living off of OnlyFans. They were selling, all kind of body parts on OnlyFans. It's over. OnlyFans is like, nope, we're finished. And listen, and OnlyFans came out and says, hey, we don't want sexually explicit content on our, which is what made you. We're changing up again, but that's not really what's going on. I'm gonna tell you what's really going on. What's really going on is the crackdown on underage. That's really what's happening. Because whenever you have like an OnlyFans or Tumblr or some of these other places where you can go and see millions of women showing their body parts, showing everything, any kind of sexually explicit, they're doing it, and it's mostly women who are doing. You gotta understand, y'all like to call men perverts, but women are some perverted ass people. They are some nasty, freaky, perverted people. And if you give these females an outlet, they're going to do every nasty thing that they want, and that comes to mind. And we're talking about teachers. Listen, that one teacher was making, she was making over $1 million. She was making $1.5 million on OnlyFans. She was dressed up as a maid, or she could dress up as a nurse or whatever. And there were other husbands who were buying her OnlyFans stuff. Yeah, the Christian woman who got her 2 kids kicked out of Christian school. Come to find out that some of the men, the Christian men who were complaining about it, had burner phones, and they was the ones who were applying to. They were some of her clients. This chick was making 100 G's a month. She was killing them. And the husband was just like, yeah, so what? That's what we are. We're a bunch of freaks. We're Christian. She's not cheating. She likes to show off her body. My wife's hot. She's got 2 kids. She looks good. Hey, the money was coming in. We're not going to make it stop. Well, they just got cut off. That's all over with. All these other women who are, talking to Kevin Samuels and saying that they're OnlyFans and, they're making millions of dollars. Nope, they just got cut off. It's over for them. On the first, it's over for all these OnlyFans girls. And it's that, if that's all you have, that's all a lot of these girls have, is their body. They have no education. They have nothing to fall back on. They have no degree. They have no certificate. Listen, you can get a certificate in a lot of things and go out there and make yourself an asset to society. It's not that hard. You can go to any JUCO. You don't even have to do 2 years. You can just go get a certificate to be a CNA. You can start making $12 an hour as a CNA. That's better than Zip. That's better than McDonald's. You shoot $12 to $15 an hour. That's $30,000 a year. That's a damn good start. Oh no, these chicks would rather get on OnlyFans and show off all their cookies because men are going to pay for it and women are paying for it. Okay, fine. What are you going to do now? Tumblr doesn't pay you for it. What are you going to do now? You're going to try to keep your clients in some kind of way. You're going to try to, hey, I'll send you more. You just send me money through, PayPal or whatever. No, it's not going to work. It's over. Your whole career just went down the drain. And it's simply because of underage explicit content. They did not want the government to come and shut them down. Because you better believe on OnlyFans there was some underage explicit content. That's really what happened. Because I was listening to a report on it, and I was just like, yeah, somebody slipped something in there, and you didn't know how old the girl was. Because if all these women are making money, you better believe that there is going to be an underage girl who's going to get in on that. You think these teenagers in high school weren't in on OnlyFans? You're fooling yourself. They just didn't have to show their face, and or they could lie about their age. That's not hard to do. You can get an account in your parents' name and be right on there showing all the goodies, and then come to find out that you're 16. Oh, it's all bad. It's all bad. And here's the thing about it: if you are that age on there doing that, and then they finally find out about it, you're gonna make more money than most girls. You're gonna make a ton of money if they find out that you're 16, but of course that's against the law. So somebody's going to jail, but who are you gonna put in jail? You can't put the men in jail because they didn't know she was 16. And even if they did know, then, yeah, you might have a problem then. But if they don't know that she's 16, if there's nothing up there that says she's 16, and she says, I'm 19, they're going to go, well, she said she's 19. How do we know? And they don't. And men don't know. But who are you going to put in jail? You're not going to put the girl in jail, even though that's who should go to jail. You're not going to put that girl in jail. So what do? You shut down the site. And that's what happened. They had too many underage girls getting on there and making a ton of money. And once that was found out, lights out. You cannot do that. So, yeah, that's how OnlyFans got shut down. And that's why they said we don't want any explicit or sexual content. So you just wipe out anything that's on there, any TNA that's on there, we're throwing it all out. You're like, you can't put none of this on, because if they don't, they're gonna get cited. And the federal government is gonna come in and shut them down, and they're gonna owe millions of dollars. That's why they're doing that. Yeah, it has nothing to do with their morals or something like they have no morals. It's straight up. There was teenagers on there who were underage, and once they found out that there was teenagers on there, they were like, "You better do something about this." And all they did was get a whiff of it. And once they got a whiff of it, then they start seeing it, and because the vetting process to get on, I have an OnlyFans account. You know what I put on there? I'm talking about my refrigerators. I don't even hardly get on there. I've never went on there and looked at a female's account and was just like, yeah, let me see your boobs. I don't give a goddamn about, I don't care about nothing, no kind of nonsense like that. I'm like, nah, I'm good. But nonetheless, what I was looking at OnlyFans is for, I was just looking at it like kind of like YouTube content. But I was thinking, if I can start doing fix it tutorials on how to fix a stove and stuff like that, and do like 2 or 3 minute little, whatever excerpts, I might be able to make a buck or two on OnlyFans. I don't know why I didn't do it. Well, the reason why I didn't do it is because of the main content that was on there. So I didn't want to direct customers into something and then they veer off and go looking at TNA. So that's why it kind of soured me. And this is when OnlyFans, just came out, and and the females turned it into sexual content. So once it became known for that, I just became soured to the whole idea, because I was just going to use it as a way of just making some side money while I'm making side money. I was, just trying to double up on my cash. But I said, no, this is not going to work. Now here's the thing about it. Now it might work. So I'm going to have to wait for a couple months, and where it's not known for TNA. And now I can start doing fix-it tutorials and loading them up to OnlyFans, and then people can pay me, I don't know, $1 to look at it, But if you can get 10 people to look at one 1 minute video, hell, that's $10. You know what I'm saying? You put up 5 videos, and you grab $50 a week, hell, that's 50. That's a light bill. You know what I mean? So that's just the way I'm looking at it. And now I can start doing it, but it's going to take me still a couple months before they clean all that nonsense out. And then I'm going to go and start posting those videos. And they're just going to be all fix-it videos. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Oh, we got some married folk in the house. Ah. You got married folk up in the house now. Oh, wait. We got married folk up in the house. Maybe you need to give us some advice on a good relationship. Tell us how that's going. You guys do know I wouldn't mind going live with you guys, doing some face-to-face stuff, But, yeah, you can tell us. Oh, yeah. Soon as I seen you were a sub, I went on to your or when you said you were sent over by, I forgot her name, but I went on to your page and I looked around. I was like, okay, all right, and I started listening to your videos. It's just kind of like my way of giving back. If somebody is listening to me, I'll go and check something out they got going on, and you know that type of thing. But yeah, if you want to give us some advice on, you know, how to, keep a good relationship going on, because I know you're married, right? Married with children and all that other stuff. Yeah, we can take that over here. I don't know if you got teenagers or anything, but that's basically what the premise was of this video. It was talking about teenage girls and how we can uh, warn them of the trouble that they're getting themselves into, because they're going to do it. You're never going to stop teenage pregnancy. It'll never stop. It's supposed to be. Yeah, and I know some of y'all women don't like that, but once again, if we took a survey on how many of you women got active in between the age of 12 and 15, I bet it's 80 to 90% of y'all. I bet 80 to 90% of you women became sexually active in between 12 and 15. I bet. I'll be willing to put, $50 on that right now. Y'all became active in between the age of 12 and 15. And this is where we're finding most of the problem, because according to nature, girls are supposed to be active during that age. Their natural instinct is not wrong. How they're going about it is wrong. You know, uh, but their natural instinct is not wrong. I don't look at a 12-year-old and who made a decision to link up with some 14-year-old boy and start knocking boots. I don't look at that and going, oh my God, that's it's the end of the world for them. They did what naturally, is, they do, you know what I'm saying? Naturally, now if she hooked up with, an adult, I look at it and go, okay, well, you have the law. You have the law of nature, then you have the law of God, and you have the law of the land. And God tells you obey the law of the land. So, if you obey the law of the land, then that adult male is going to have some issues. However, the law of nature is not exactly in agreement with the law of the land. But there are laws that you have to obey. So, there's that. But like I said, the law of nature is telling this, 12 to 15-year-old girls to seek out a suitable, male and marry him. She's not actually to marry, but seek him out and nest and start having kids with him. Uh, of course, we totally screwed that up. But nonetheless, we're saying, no, you wait till you're 18 and then you find a suitable male. However, when they're 18, they lost 5 years of their prime, birthing years, because they didn't find a suitable uh, male who had the ability and the resources that they need in order to nest. That's what nature is telling them. But the law of the land is telling them, no, you wait till a certain age and then you go out and do that. So there are just different laws that you have to abide by. And there's, like I said, the law of nature, the law of the land, and then the law of God. And so this is why things are all screwed up when it comes to teenage pregnancy, because you got all three of those laws that are going after that one body, and that body does not have a clear direction on what to do. And there needs to be some type of something where that body has a way of understanding what to do and is led through that process the correct way without the law of the land and the law of God being broken. And that is my whole point. It's not an attractive subject, but it's a subject that every one of us has to look at and go, yeah, it's bad out here. Anyways, everybody left, and that's okay. Like I said, it's not an attractive subject, but it's still something that everybody has to look at, and something needs to be done about it. It's your boy Tone 202. Peace.